As you know, the president claiming vindication over the Mueller report as many Democrats promise to keep the pressure on his administration. My next guest says it's time for the previous administration to answer some questions, writing, the Mueller report confirms that the Obama administration, without evidence, turned the surveillance powers of the federal government against the presidential campaign of the party out of power. It's time for Mr. Obama to say what he knew and did not know about the targeting of his party's opponents. I'm joined now by James Freeman, Wall Street Journal associate editor. You know, there's few things that unite sort of Silicon Valley liberals and Trump supporters, but the frustration with the Obama administration with not getting ahead of what was happening in regards to Russian interference is certainly one of them.
Yeah, and I think it's odd how a lot of the stories about the last 2 years of stories, how few of them mention President Obama. And I think partly it was a deception, whether intentional or not. A lot of people in the media have presented the FBI and the Justice Department as sort of independent agencies. And I think that served the narrative that Trump has no business managing them or firing James Comey. But it also, I think, has misled a lot of people into thinking that President Obama was not the executive in charge. He was.
Well, and some people have said, in his defender, saying, like, you know, he didn't want to weigh in too much because he didn't want it to look like he was interfering and trying to help Hillary Clinton win the election.
Yeah, I think we ought to know what he was doing. We now know there was no evidence for collusion.
So, you think that he should have to address this issue in public?
The idea that we take the surveillance powers of the federal government and turn them on the presidential campaign of the party out of power is
you write that there's no evidence, though, that those things were done with no evidence. But do we know that for sure, or have they just not shown us what evidence they based it on?
You mean, was there collusion or not?
No, in terms of the initial surveillance.
Right. So we know now from the Mueller report that there was no evidence for collusion. So if we've been waiting for something to say, oh, those FISA warrants happened with something beyond the dossier, with something better than a citation in Yahoo News.
That we should know that or not, right?
Well, now we know there was nothing there. So I think the question naturally ought to be directed at the executive in charge. Were you allowing, enabling, encouraging? There's a struck page text message that says the president wanted to know everything we're doing. We don't know what he was referring to or she was referring to, but we ought to know.
Well, since you have to write a column every day, you're going to write today on the Green New Deal. We just got new sound from Senator Barrasso from Wyoming about the Green New Deal and the vote happening today. Listen to this.
We are now at a point where every Democrat senator who is running for president has endorsed and co-sponsored the Green New Deal. So the question is, why are they going to duck that vote today? Well, the reason is because it's a big green bomb that will blow a hole in our strong, healthy, and growing economy.
And James, Senator McConnell wrote this on Twitter. It's remarkable to see a party coalesce around a proposal to forcibly remake the entire country on the whims of Brooklyn and San Francisco. But it's been even more stunning to see my Democrat colleagues angry and upset that the plan they support is about to get a vote. You're going to be right about this today. What do you think's happening?
Yeah, it's going to be kind of interesting to watch, because once you say this is a grave threat to the planet that must be addressed immediately, how do you vote present after that? I think this is, I mean, obviously this is the intention, to make people get on record and actually act on these things they claim to believe.
That's right. Well, we'll see what happens on that one. I think that obviously that'll fail today, but we have not heard the last of the Green New Deal, and we will read your column this afternoon.
Thanks.
James Freeman, thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Fox News Alert. House Democrats demanding the Justice Department turn over the entire Mueller report 1 week from today. They're arguing the 4-page summary clearing the Trump campaign of conspiring, or collusion as some call it, with Moscow is not enough. But the top Republican in the House says it is time for Democrats to turn the page.
Sunday was a very good day for America. Regardless of where you stand politically, it's a moment in time that we got the answer to the question. It was a very clear answer: no collusion. For those who misled the American public, for those who said for more than 2 years that there is circumstantial evidence of collusion, owe America an apology. And now it's a moment in time for the Democrats to turn a page.
Meanwhile, freshman Democrat Rashida Tlaib is reportedly pushing ahead with her efforts to impeach the president by seeking co-sponsors on a resolution to determine if he has committed impeachable offenses. Joining me for the first time on Outnumbered Overtime, House Majority Whip James Clyburn, Democrat of South Carolina. Good to see you today. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
I want to start off with what's happening inside the House. I mean, the Speaker has made it very clear, no impeachment. Representative Hakeem Jeffries today saying no impeachment, that's not our focus. What do you say about some members in your party with this resolution making their own course?
Well, first of all, Harris, thank you so much for having me. Well, the members of our caucus reflect their congressional districts. And so each member comes with a mandate from his or her congressional district. They do what they think they have to do. And no one can stop me from introducing whatever resolution I want to introduce. I don't have to get a vote on it. I don't have to get support for it. But you're free to do it. But the caucus itself, I think Hakeem Jeffries speaks for the caucus. He's our chair, and what he says is what I think we are going to pursue in this matter.
Interesting. Here is the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi on it exactly. Let's watch.
Impeachment is not on the table until it is on the table, so it's not a question of that. This is not about that. This is about us doing our work. Today we're introducing our health care bill. Tomorrow we'll be doing climate. It's about building infrastructure in a green way. It's about clean government. We're on our agenda. We are doing what we said we were going to do in the campaign.
So she's making it quite clear about the table. Steny Hoyer just moments ago as well, the congressman said we are the table and it's not on the table for now. Even the president said a short while ago as he was entering that Senate Republican policy lunch just a few minutes ago, we showed it live, the president says he doesn't think Democrats are going to push ahead with this. Let's push ahead with one of the things that Nancy Pelosi was talking about, though, and that is health care. The Justice Department just said, upheld a ruling that the Affordable Care Act is unconstitutional. Nancy Pelosi and others on the Hill like yourself getting ready to drop that legislation for health care to protect the ACA without the Medicare for All mandate. Your thoughts on where this is going?
Well, I think that the Justice Department has just filed a lawsuit asking the court to declare the Affordable Care Act as being unconstitutional. That runs awry to what the president said time and time again. He told us he will protect people with pre-existing conditions. Now he's saying the one law that protects people with pre-existing conditions, his Justice Department is now asking the Supreme Court to get rid of it. So it seems to me that the president is not being consistent here. We in our caucus are very consistent. We believe that people with pre-existing conditions ought to be protected. I believe very strongly that little children born with diabetes ought to be able to come on their families' insurance policies if they are sick. I believe very strongly that a woman with breast cancer, a man with prostate cancer should not be allowed to be kicked off their insurance policies once they get sick. We are going to fight for that. We're going to be putting in a bill or having a press conference at 2:30 today to talk more about that.
All right, and we'll be watching for the news to be made.
Good.
I want to get to this very quickly. What is the significance of April 2nd, a week from today, in terms of trying to get the full Mueller report? Why do you have any concern that William Barr's interpretation or summary thereof, no collusion, is not enough?
Well, simply because I think people are saying that this full-page summary was forecast by Mr. Barr during his hearings. And so what we would like to do is
Wait. I have to stop you there. Are you saying that the AG Barr is not telling the truth when he says that he received a report on Friday from Mueller? He looked at it. It's his job as special counsel in this instance to take a look at that and then give a summary. Are you saying that that's not how it happened?
No, I'm saying he's doing exactly what he said he would do, and that is he would release as much of it as he possibly could. So maybe this is all that he possibly can.
And is that enough?
Not for us. We want to see the full report. Give us the full report. Let us make up our own minds. We do have brains on our side of the aisle.
Of course,
and I think that we can think about these things.
Real quickly, could you understand, though, that if that doesn't come, according to polling, I mean, it looks like it's time for some Americans, they say, to move on from this. Even Democrats have said when we get the Mueller findings, which you've gotten through that 4-page report from the AG, that you would move on. I don't understand what you're still pressing for.
We are moving on. That's why we have the press conference today at 2:30 to talk about the Affordable Care Act. That's why I will be, I am meeting. I had a meeting just an hour ago with people talking about broadband deployment, trying to put in a new infrastructure bill that we hope we can get cooperation from the other side of the aisle. We want to see roads and bridges, but we also want to see water and sewage, broadband deployment, school construction. That's where we are going. You're the one that's camping out with Mueller. We've gone on from that.
Well, but there are 6 Democratic committee heads, House Democratic committee heads, calling for a full look at the Mueller report on April 2nd. It isn't me, sir. I'm not making it up. I want to have you back, though. We've got some breaking news. Majority Whip James Clyburn on the program.